Hey guys, and welcome to another very special episode right here on the Leftover Culture Review, where I'm going to do something that I really enjoy doing. Which is pretty much how every episode goes anyway, but today we are making art on the Sega Mega Drive. And this definitely isn't the first time that I've sat down to make art using a Sega Mega Drive, but I'm really glad to have you here for the ride. And if you haven't watched one of these videos before, essentially what you can expect is me drawing very slowly, moving a cursor around a screen. Why is it blue? But it's still blue. But I'm glad to have you here to see the creative process unfold. I already have a bit of an idea of where I want to take this particular piece. Essentially, I want to do something a little bit like Muckman from the Ninja Turtles. So I guess we'll see how that turns out. I want to start by making a brain, which will essentially be a bunch of wrinkly lines. Let's see how this can turn out. One thing I have actually started to appreciate a lot using Art Alive so many times is the control pad. Like, ideally, having a computer to do artwork on would be better than this, but the control pad actually gives you like a really organic way to plot out and draw. Especially, like, ideally you'd have a vector program on a computer and you'd be able to plot out your points and your Bezier curves, but you know, for using a control pad, this tool actually works really well for that. So I'm pretty impressed just with how easy this is to use, manipulate, operate, and, you know, pull together pretty decent pieces with. I've decided I want to give the brain a hat. It helps us know that it's definitely the top of the head. Because I'm a bit of a sucker for punishment, I kind of wanted this guy to have some really intricate kind of lines and details. Yeah, I'm kind of digging that. I want to go back and do a little bit more with the vein work coming out of the brain, but for now I'm just going to focus on the eyeballs and really try and get a better idea of the overall composition of the picture, because playing in Art Alive, that's always like the hardest bit, is like knowing how the whole picture is going to sort of come together. It's very easy for things to take more space than you expect. We kind of have an example of that with the hat at the top. I might need to go back and sort of like give him a comically small hat to make it fit in the space if I want to go that route. But yeah, I've always struggled with the composition in this tool. Well, not this tool, in this program. But I'm kind of liking where this is going now. Nearly gives me a bit of like a snail vibe. So yeah, I mentioned this isn't like my first time using Art Alive. Actually, in 2022, I went ahead and made, I think it was more than 10 artworks in Art Alive. And I actually turned it into a digital exhibition called As Seen on TV. So all this artwork, as well as like a PDF version of the book that you can download and check out for yourself, is available over on leftoverculturereview.com. I just thought I'd chuck in the mini plug. I mean, it's all free. You can go check it out for free. But yeah, I did a whole bunch of artwork last year in Art Alive, and I kind of wanted to go back and expand out some of the pieces. Obviously, I had a lot of fun putting them together, even though I complain all the time about how frustrating Art Alive is to use. As far as like drawing apps on a console go, it is a really solid app, and I really liked how the pieces turned out as well. It does kind of require you to be patient and work with the app and within the limitations of the app. Obviously, you can only have 16 colors on any one picture. Actually, I haven't picked my palette yet, so I should probably work out what color scheme I want this picture to have as well soon. But I can do that in a sec. Yeah, I'm just going to try and put some of these lines down a bit better, so that when I start filling things in, hopefully the whole picture actually starts looking more and more like what I expected it to. So there is an erase tool in Art Alive, but essentially you don't have layers or anything. The erase tool just paints the background color wherever you're like erasing. So instead of using that tool, I recommend just using this one for that as well, and picking your background color and erasing the bits that you want to erase. And once you isolate some of the lines, which I'm going to do with the hat in a minute, you can then just use the paint bucket tool to erase the rest of it. So I'll show you how that process looks if anyone wants to follow along at home and give Art Alive a crack as well. Love to see what you'd come up with. Some of those black lines just aren't as neat as I was hoping, but maybe once I start adding in the color, I'll be able to kind of get them to where I want them to be. What else does a brain need? I think this picture definitely needs like a little bit of gore. And by gore, I mean some droplets of blood. Nothing too bad. I'm kind of wishing the whole picture was just a little bit smaller. But maybe I'll feel a bit better if I can fix the hat up a bit. So using this liner tool, whatever it's called, I just call it the arrow tool because you get a little arrow. I'm going to isolate the black lines from the hat, like so. And now that they're isolated, I can use the paint bucket tool to go bang, take that, whoa, and take that. And yeah, have one of these too. Oopsie. Have one of these. And one of these. And then I'm going to try again. And that is too small. So I've had a variety of luck using the undo tool. It doesn't exactly work like it would on a computer. The undo tool only works on the last tool that you used it for. So I've had points in time where I've like spent a long time drawing like an outline, a shape, a character, whatever, and then I've used the undo tool and it's thinking that it would remove the last line I drew, but instead it just erases everything I did with that tool the last time I used it, which could potentially be a lot of work. So yeah, I've had like a bit of bad luck using the undo tool. When I originally envisioned this picture, I kind of wanted a way to work some teeth into it as well in the bottom corner, but I don't think I'm going to have the space for this one, which is fine. Though I want this brain to be a bit lumpier. Let's go ahead and start dropping in some color and picking a palette. Actually, this one's got two types, like a red and a pink. Oh, this one's got a bit more. Yeah, actually, I think I like this one. I'm going to go for pink. Alright, fingers crossed. Let's see how it goes. Oh, okay. That wasn't so painful. Then we can use a darker color for the vein that's running this way. Just to give a little bit of contrast between the bits. I don't like that color as much as I thought I would. I wonder how a dark green would look instead. And green and pink is actually one of my favorite color combinations of all time, so I'm not mad about using some green. Though, now that I look at it, I kind of want to make it go black. Risky move, because once you go black, I'm going to lose all those outlines. But I do have a bit of a confession to make. I have been working off a reference image. It's one that I did on Art Alive, but I used an emulator. So the whole idea of this project was that you can't save things on a Sega Mega Drive. So the only way to see like the true versions of these images is to be here with me in the space, which obviously you can't. Like, I can record it unless you want to come over to my house. But yeah, once you turn off the Mega Drive, this piece of art gets lost. What we can do is record it and I can share like a copy of it, but I can't share the original piece anymore. Using an emulator kind of defeats the purpose because you can like save your states, you can reload them. I had like a couple of different states where I could make a whole bunch of different changes and see what I liked and what I didn't. Anyway, I've got this reference image that is my image that I created a couple of weeks ago that I've been trying to sort of like capture here. Yeah, this particular one took about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I had a lot more, I felt like I had a lot more control using a keyboard to like move the cursor around compared to this. But yeah, like a lot more options when it comes to like undoing mistakes and things like that as well. So I might share this guy that I had already done at the end of the video, but we're going to get stuck into finishing what we have going on here. So went with the black. Like I said, a bit of a risky move because once you go black, I've lost all those outlines now. If I try to delete the black, I'm just going to delete everything else. So yeah, just the nature of the game. But now that it is like black, I can sort of like draw in the veins and make them a little bit more distinct. Yeah. And I always love adding a little bit of white into these sort of illustrations as well, just to show those highlights. So I'm going to come in and try and make things look a little bit shinier. Like that. I'm also going to add some action lines. So I guess it's like a little bit of visual noise, movement lines, stink lines, whatever they are. I love the way they look. And when you're trying to draw something using a tool like this, sometimes it can just add so much, having some of those like extra lines. Showing a bit of movement, showing a bit of energy. Now that we have a yellow hat, I kind of want to... I know what I want to add. I was thinking about a star on that top right, but in my version that I've already done, what I did to add a bit more color, obviously Mutagen Man is like in this green goop, green or yellow, he's in goop essentially to suspend all these organs. So I had these like sections of green to try and pay homage to that and add some color, because green is my favorite color. And yeah, obviously I've already said the purple and the pink and green color combination is one of my favorites. So I've gone back and I've decided that I want some thicker lines in places. You only get is it 3 line widths? 3 line widths in Art Alive, which yeah, just isn't enough. I really enjoy thick lines, and I've made the joke in some of my other Art Alive videos, but I'll make it again. To be a good artist, all you need is a thicker pen, because then you don't have to draw as many lines. Butchered my own joke. How about that? What I might also try and do to add a little bit of, like, obviously the paint bucket's a great way to fill a space, but I kind of want to integrate these colors a little bit more. So add some of the darker pink into the light pink area and vice versa. I just think it's going to help bring this whole picture together. So essentially at this point, the picture is pretty much done. I'm just adding in like a whole bunch of small little details. I think one of the hard things about sitting here and just drawing for an hour in this kind of environment, even though I'm being filmed and that's kind of weird already, I'm kind of used to putting my mug on camera. It's the like dead silence, right? Because all the game noise is being captured on the computer at the moment. I've got the sound of dogs snoring around me, but I'm just kind of like here listening to my own voice, or the tapping of my control pad. So yeah, the silence sucks, and I've got a song stuck in my head, and it'd be nice just to like put it on while I finish doing this. But I also if I start playing music, it's going to make it even harder to talk over the top of it. So that's fine. All good. Like I said, we're kind of like getting to the nitty gritty, just trying to integrate some of the colors a bit better, try and make it feel more like a complete picture. Which, you know, great, good idea. Maybe I'll try and give this some thicker lines as well, after talking about how much I love thick lines. So I guess I could like talk about why I decided to do a digital exhibition using nothing but a Mega Drive and a copy of Art Alive to make artwork with. The answer is pretty simple. I just kind of wanted to challenge myself. I wanted a, you know, I really think this game, you know, it's not the most sophisticated drawing tool, but the limitations are really interesting, and it really makes you sort of like think about what you're doing and how you're drawing and what you want your finished product to look like. So I had a lot of fun experimenting with Art Alive, and I kind of wanted to challenge myself and have like this really sort of novel idea for digital art. And the fact that you don't get to keep these pictures, like once you turn the system off, they are deleted. You can save a copy of them, but yeah, once the system's off, they're gone. So I found that whole concept really novel, especially because I am an absolute hoarder. I hoard a lot of stuff, which probably makes sense when you see the space that I'm in right now, but not being able to like keep these images, just knowing that once I turn the system off, they go out into the ether. Yeah, it's kind of fascinating. So I decided to tackle the idea of using Art Alive to do a whole series of works in, and I launched last year with 10 pieces in the Art Alive collection, and I thought, I miss it. You know, we're halfway through the year now. I kind of miss coming down into this garage and recording. Actually, what I would like to do moving forward is set up a space in my home office, because I've got a great little home office that is incredibly underutilized, and it'd be a lot more comfortable sitting in there with my Mega Drive, making this work happen, than like sitting out here in the garage where it's cold and a bit harder to control in terms of like traffic noise and trains. But yeah, having that that office space set up should make doing this kind of stuff a bit easier. And I was talking about those white lines giving like a little bit of action, and I only put a couple in, which is good because I went back and like kept on modifying and changing things. But I might put in the last couple now. What else I really like about this process, making things on the Mega Drive, recording it, is that I don't exactly have all night to do it. I can't go back and do like 3 or 4 different revisions. This is actually the 3rd time that I'm doing like this piece tonight, because the other 2 just didn't look the way I wanted them to. The composition didn't turn out. So yeah, this is the 3rd time that I'm actually doing it, but like I can't spend, you know, days working on these pieces. They kind of are at the time, in the moment, done in one take. And I don't get the chance to overthink them either. Like usually it's like, okay, I've got a night free. I don't have any friends. How about I come out to the garage and record myself painting in an art program that no one cares about, except maybe the people who developed it. Who knows? Oh, a bit of purple would be cool too. Really complements the pinks. But yeah, one reason I like recording all these things is for that reason, that they kind of have to happen live, spur of the moment. Things change, things don't always work out the way you expect, and documenting that process as they come together, and also the fact that once I turn it off, it's gone forever. So, you know, recording the time lapse, recording me taking some photos of the actual screen before it gets turned off. At least there's like a record of it existing. Which is nice because I do spend a fair bit of time working on these. So I appreciate the fact that you guys are watching and hanging out to see it all come together. Yeah, right. I think I'm actually starting to prefer this more than the one I did before, but that could just be the fact that I have been staring at it for so long. I think we are pretty much at that point where I'm going to call it here. I just want to get this last black line in. So guys, that is going to do it. I really like how this one turned out. It's definitely one of my favorites so far. Like I said, I really love the pink and the green. I love the fact that it's like a slight reference to a really cool Ninja Turtles character, but it definitely has that very, you know, colorful, vibrant 90s extreme vibe that I love so much. And that's something that I find easy to create in Art Alive because you only have the limited color palette. You're using tools of the time. I find it really fun, and I'm really glad that you guys tuned in to check it out with me. If you do like what I do here, a comment, a like would, I mean, make my day. Unless they're negative comments, then you can still make them. I'm not going to stop you, but it wouldn't make my day. You can also check out the Leftover Culture Review to check out a whole bunch of other Art Alive artwork, as seen on TV. Like I said, once I turn off this system, this picture is gone forever. What we've done here is going to be the only acknowledgement that it ever existed, but you can check out a whole bunch of other Art Alive artwork I did over on the website. And like I said earlier in the video, this piece today was based off one that I had already done, like one I prepared earlier using an emulator. So I didn't want the piece that I did in the emulator to be part of this digital exhibition because that wasn't what it was about. This digital exhibition, the whole idea of it is that it is artwork made using a Sega Mega Drive, not a Sega Mega Drive emulator. And the only way to see those pieces originally is to be there in the room. But yeah, anyway, I will leave the time lapse of that emulated picture coming together, but I do really appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to have you back for some more Leftover Culture. Cheers, guys.